What's this ugly black woman doing in my bank? Get out of here, or are you going to end up in jail today? Mark Sullivan, the bank manager, shouted across the gleaming marble floor. His voice carried over the quiet hum of customers waiting in line, slicing through the air like a whip. What he didn't know, what no one there knew, was that the woman he was detaining had far more power than he could ever imagine. Doctor Eris Thorne walked in through the revolving door, her charcoal gray pantsuit immaculate, her dark skin radiant under the high ceiling's golden lights. Her heels clicked against the polished tiles, each step measured, each glance sharp. She wasn't just entering a bank. She was entering hostile territory. She approached the counter with calm authority. "Good morning, hey. What are you looking for in this place?" A voice interrupted that it was Julian Croft, the branch director, striding toward her. His forced smile was tight, almost predatory. "Excuse me, are you talking to me?" Eris asked. "Yes, you. What are you doing here?" His gaze scanned her from head to toe, dripping with judgment. "I'm here to complete a transaction," she replied evenly. Julian chuckled, a short, mocking sound. "A transaction? With what account?" Eris opened her briefcase, removed a leather-bound folder, and set it on the counter. "With this." He didn't look at it. Instead, he leaned forward. "Let's be clear, we've had a lot of trouble lately. People come in here." He waved a hand toward her, as if her skin were part of the evidence. "Trying to pull scams." Her eyes narrowed. "Are you implying something?" "I'm not implying. I'm stating we don't have time for people who can't pay back loans or who cause trouble." The young security guard, Leo, shifted uncomfortably. "I'd like to speak with a senior executive," Eris said. Julian's smirk widened. "An executive? And who exactly are you?" "The Queen of Zamunda." She didn't flinch. "Either process my transaction or step aside." "Sit down. Wait your turn," he said dismissively. Minutes passed before Eris returned to the counter. "I want my transaction processed now." Julian's eyes hardened. "Are you deaf? Or just stupid? You're here for a handout, and you're not getting one." "Give me my papers back," she demanded. Julian lifted the folder tauntingly. "Not until I make some calls. Maybe check if your business involved drugs." Murmurs swept through the bank. "I suggest you move," Eris said, her voice cold. "Leo, hold her here." The guard hesitated, then gripped her arms. "You sure about this?" he whispered. "More than sure," Julian replied, pulling out his phone. "Yes, Capital One downtown branch. We have a woman here. Suspected robbery attempt. Aggressive. Won't identify herself." Eris looked at Leo. "This is racism, and you know it." Julian laughed. "That's what they all say." Hanging up, he faced the customers. "See this? This is what happens to rats who try to steal from me." He stepped close, casting a shadow over her. "When they get here, you'll regret stepping inside." "The problem isn't mine," Eris said calmly. "It's yours." Sirens wailed outside, drawing nearer. Julian straightened, triumphant. "Here comes the cavalry." Two FBI agents strode in, sunglasses glinting, badges flashing. "Over here," Julian called. "She's dangerous." But when her eyes fell on Eris, they froze. The taller agent removed his sunglasses. "Ma'am." The room went still. Julian blinked. "What did you just say?" The second agent stepped forward, pushing Leo aside. "Ma'am, what happened here?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. "I think we have a lot to discuss, Mr. Croft," Eris said. The taller agent turned to Julian. "Why did you call us?" "She disturbed the peace, acted suspicious, and threatened me. Verbal or physical?" "Both." "Then you have proof, security footage, witnesses?" The crowd stirred. A woman laughed bitterly. Another man muttered, "Never saw that happen." Julian scanned the faces desperately. "Right." No one spoke. Heads shook. The agent stepped forward until Julian's back touched the counter. The murmur grew louder, tension winding tighter. Outside, the sirens faded, but the storm inside the bank had only begun. "Mr. Croft, we work with evidence. If you detained a person under false accusations, that is a serious matter." Sweat beaded on Julian's forehead. "No, it's not false. I thought. You thought. Or you knew." The second agent cut in, his voice sharp as a blade. Julian hesitated. "I didn't know exactly." The air in the bank was tense. "A short while ago, People had eyed Julian with respect. Now they watched him crumble. Eris stood silent, her presence towering as the man who humiliated her shrank with every question. The taller agent closed his notepad. "You'll need to come with us." Under oath. Julian opened his mouth, but no sound came. His hands sweated, shoulders hunched. Moments ago, he had been the loudest man in the room. Now, his authority evaporated. One agent stepped closer. "Do you know who you just detained, Mr. Croft?" Julian blinked. "What? What do you mean?" The agent's tone was ice. "This woman is the director of the FBI." The revelation rippled through the crowd like a shockwave. Some gasped. Others stared with astonishment or satisfaction that Julian's face drained of color. I didn't. What you did," the agent cut in, "was detain her without cause. That will cost you dearly." Julian said nothing. "Let's go," the agent ordered. Flanked on both sides, Julian was escorted out. His steps dragged, his eyes fixed on the floor, avoiding the stares of those who had witnessed his fall. When the doors closed behind him, the air felt different, charged, expectant. Inside, Eris stepped forward, her voice calm but resolute. "I came here to make a transaction, like any citizen. I committed no crime, yet I was humiliated, detained, and falsely accused." Her words carried across the lobby. Some lowered their eyes. Others stared, captivated. This was not a misunderstanding. It was racism, and it will not go unanswered. The taller agent addressed the crowd. "Mr. Croft faces charges of unlawful detention, filing a false report, and discriminatory conduct." Whispers swept the room. The fall of the man who thought himself untouchable stunned them. Eris collected her documents from the counter. "Thank you for your time," she told the staff. "Power lies in doing what's right, not in humiliating others." Outside, Julian was placed into an unmarked FBI vehicle. Through the windows, bank patrons watched him disappear. Hours later, in an interrogation room, Julian sat at a cold metal table, his hands trembling. Across from him, an agent flipped through a thick file. "Mr. Croft, security footage and witness statements don't support your version of events. No threats, no disturbance. Just you detaining the director of the FBI without evidence. And remember, even if she weren't director, unlawful detention is still a crime." "I thought I was protecting the bank," Julian muttered. "No," the agent said flatly. "You were discriminating. In public, before dozens of witnesses." The room fell silent. The accusation pressed on him like a weight. The next morning, headlines exploded. "Bank director arrested for unlawful detention and discrimination against FBI director." The bank released a swift statement. Julian Croft was terminated immediately. His once bright career in finance was over that a judge set high bail, draining what savings he had. Civil suits followed, damages, emotional distress. His neighbors turned cold. Some avoided him, others stared with open contempt. The authority he once flaunted had dissolved into a stain on his name. For Eris, the day's events became another reminder of why her position mattered. She returned to her office more determined than ever to confront injustice. That afternoon, she stood before her team at FBI headquarters, briefing them not only on operations, but on integrity. "Power," she told them, "is not in titles or positions. It's in the choices we make when no one can stop us. And those choices will always speak louder than any badge." Meanwhile, Julian's world continued to collapse. Old colleagues avoided his calls. Former friends hesitated to be seen with him. Lawyers demanded fees he could barely pay. The looming trial promised months of public scrutiny. In the courtroom weeks later, Julian sat beside his attorney, glancing nervously at the jury. Across the aisle, Eris entered, composed, professional, offering him not gloating, but silence. Witness after witness recounted the events in the bank. Customers spoke of Julian's words, his gestures, the moment the agents revealed who Eris was. Surveillance footage played, stripping away any chance of denial. The prosecution didn't need theatrics. The evidence was enough. When the verdict came, guilty on all counts, Julian's shoulders sagged. The sentence: fines, mandatory anti-discrimination training, and a permanent mark on his record. Outside the courthouse, Reporters crowded Eris. She answered few questions, focusing on the larger issue. "This is not about me," she said. "It's about making sure no one, anywhere, faces humiliation or false accusations simply because of who they are." As the cameras clicked, Julian was led past the press into the waiting transport. The contrast was stark. One walking free, her dignity intact. The other, once convinced of his own invincibility, now learning that power abused is power lost.